Perfection. It's one of those things that I've always found myself striving towards, something that I thought was admirable for a long time, and I understand the whole perfectionism is a bad thing, and that's kind of the point of this video. But there was an aspect of me that went, even though it is impractical, it is something that I strive towards. It's something that helps me put my work in a category that is above what I previously thought was possible. Being able to consistently improve. And although there is value in that, I also find there's this other aspect that I really need to just consistently work on, which is making sure that the perfectionism doesn't become the point of the project. All this is to say is that I am a perfectionist and am trying to really fix that. Previously, my versions of trying to fix this have been effectively going the other way. These videos are a great example of that. I've done videos in the past where I've edited really a lot of things, but I've found that in just pressing record on this and speaking my mind, not having it fully planned out and whatnot has been so helpful to me. And I've learned a lot in the process around everything outside of just the content of the video. And going forward, I might be playing around with the actual format of these videos and what it's going to be, so keep an eye out on those. But through looking at this RPG system, I've been tweaking and changing and updating and quote-unquote perfecting. And I had an epiphany that I originally labeled this whole project as making the MVP, the minimal viable product. The idea that this was not even going to be a completed thing before I shared it with everyone, and I've gotten to a stage where I'm literally trying to fix every small detail and make it perfect. But in doing so, I've also been sacrificing other ideas of projects that I want to be working on. There's been like a backlog of things that I could be doing, but I haven't been because I've been focusing on this. And as that goes through, I also find that I'm losing a little bit of that initial spark of interest that I have been having with other projects now. And it's time that I actually realize that it doesn't need to be perfect right away. I can still release this as a product and have it so that it is a brilliant thing, but it can be improved down the road. And it really got me to this state of questioning, like, what is perfectionism? Why is it beneficial? But also, what is the difference between high quality work and perfectionism? Because I should always strive for high quality work. That is something that I pride myself on. I make high quality things. And even when I don't, I still learn from them, but I strive to make high quality things. Perfectionism, however, is a different aspect because it is, by definition, aiming towards perfect, which you cannot get. Perfection is really a very immutable thing. You can't really get it. They don't even bring in the whole idea of subjectivity, because then it's impossible to become perfect. We strive for this state that is impossible, but in doing so, we learn things for our next time. And that's where I believe the line of quality work versus perfectionism gets in, because quality work exists. Nothing out there is perfect, but a lot out there is very good quality work. And the key aspect that defines quality work from the work that is aiming towards perfection is that it was completed and sent out. It was shared. And that's always something that I have struggled with. You look at previous videos where I've said, oh, I'm going to be making a video every 2 weeks and so, and then I just disappear for months at a time, because the next time I go to work on something, I start aiming towards that perfection, and I don't end up with anything. But you look at this series where I've been talking about building this product over the past month and a bit, and I've been making 2 of these a week. That's the thing. The perfect aspect for me is just achieving 2 videos a week. The videos themselves are far from perfect. There are so many other videos out there that are way better than what I'm making. But I'm proud of these because it is a documentation, and that was the original point of this. Yes, it was to eventually also build an audience of people who are like-minded and care about these things. But for me, it was a case of proving to myself that yes, I can do this. I can continue making quality work without having to get this perfect aspect. And a big part of that is knowing when something is done, when it has achieved the initial goal. The goal of these videos is to document my thoughts. Eventually, it is to make high quality videos that educate and entertain at the same time, but for now, I realize that there is baby steps. I am doing this over a long period of time, so each of these doesn't need to be perfect. It doesn't need to be that end result thing, because I won't learn all the skills needed to get that stage without doing each of these along the way. And it's like most things that I've learned in life. Like, my background is a render that I've made. I did not have these skills when I first started making 3D renders or making art or learning 3D programs. It was a very long, slow burn that got me to where I am, and I'm starting to question now, along with the whole point of these videos, why do I expect myself to be at a top level in everything I do, but I am also afraid to go back to the beginning and start something anew, being the amateur, being the intern to other people's knowledge, and going through all of those failures to get to the success that gets earned. And it's probably a pride thing. It's probably an aspect of the stories that you tell yourself. And it is an interesting concept that I am working through at the moment, and seeing how I can use these as a channel to test out those mentalities of, okay, well, if I start this project again from the beginning. The whole reason I'm making this project itself was because of that thought of, if I am going to start everything again from the start, go right back to the beginning, I need a foundation that will support me. And it's slowly turned into also adapting that to help others, which is awesome. I didn't realize that was a part of exactly what I wanted to do when I started, but I'm so glad that it is now. If you guys are getting any sort of value from this, that's amazing. But again, at the end of the day, it is also kind of like a love letter to a younger version of myself. If I had these sorts of videos to reference, to teach me all the things that I now know, or wanted to know, or even still want to know. And in theme of that, I wanted to start including concepts that I've learned in each of these videos, well, in my life, but at least one in every one of these videos, just so that if there is a younger version of me that ends up looking at this sort of thing and goes, oh, what's that? And can delve deeper. So today's concept, I guess, is the Pareto principle. Now, if you may have heard of this before as the 20-80 principle, or the 80-20 principle, however you want to say it. Effectively what it is that 80% of the results that you get in life come from 20% of the efforts. And likewise, the remaining 20% of the results come from 80% of the efforts after that fact. And when thinking about a project, it really does start to become apparent that that is what happens, because I know the basis to get my products to a stage where it is 80% of the way there, and it becomes this second nature thing. When I'm making a render, I know that positioning and whatnot of all that's interesting, yeah, and that's cool. To get it to 80%, it's very simple for me, because I've done it so many times. I know exactly those things that get me to there, and that's a small amount of effort. It's in the 80% of me experimenting with new lighting or new textures or something like that, where I really have to dial in and spend a lot more time to get that extra 20%, but that's where it gets the quality work. And I find that with my RPG system now, I've put in more than 20%, because I'm past that 80% by a while. I'm not at 100%. I don't think I ever will be, because it is an ever-evolving thing. But it is reaching that point of, am I getting to a point where it is just diminishing returns the amount of times that I work on something? Have I got it to, say, 90, 95%? And if so, how happy can I be with that, knowing that I've put in all of this effort? And it's a weird equation that it isn't going to be able to define mathematically, but you can ask yourself of, is it worth this going a little bit further, me spending another 50% of my time to get 1 or 2% improvement? And for some things, yes, absolutely. And when it comes to the RPG system, there is going to be improvements in the future, once the fuel is rekindled and whatnot. But I suppose I have this video to really just say one thing, and that, well, I'll let this do the speaking for me. So yeah, the system is going to be done. It's going to be released as a product later this week. So if that interests you, feel free to sign up via the link in the description below, and you'll be actually getting a couple of little early access sales. So keep an eye out for those. One of the hints is that if you're just buying the system outright, you'll get it for half price. And that's just a thank you for you guys for joining along this journey, sharing the whole process and seeing the insights that I had. And yeah, if that interests you guys, again, link in the description below. On Thursday, I'm going to be releasing a video that walks through the whole system. I'm not going to show all the code and whatnot, because that would be a very long video. But I will be showing how it all works, how you can actually play around and use it. And if you are going to get your hands on it, please share your insights on how it works. Make a video about it and see how you're using it and how you've adapted it and whatnot, because that's the sort of stuff that I love. It's the sort of stuff that younger me would have loved being part of. So that's kind of what I'm doing this for. I'm doing it for little younger Kurt, and hopefully by doing so, I find some other people out there who are like the younger version of me, looking for those ways to improve themselves. That said, now that I guess this chapter of this project is going to be finishing, in the future I'll be doing updates, how the project's going and whatnot, but I have another project that I have in mind that is going to be announced next Tuesday as well in that video. So keep an eye out for those ones, and you can do that by subscribing. And yeah, I look forward to seeing how you guys play around with this, and either way, I look forward to seeing what we do next, because this past month and a bit as I've made this series has been something very enjoyable. It's really sparked a love of just creating things that I have had missing for a while. But yeah, once again, thank you for joining along for the journey, and I will see you in the next video.